The following is a fictitious episode in the lives of two make-believe hobos. The characters and events you hear are not real. Don't freak out.
Splish splash in the bubble bath. It's me and Don. We are in the Shedd Aquarium. We want to take a little dip with all the little penguins. Here they are dancing all around with us, going hack, 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 hack.
Get out of here! Get out of here, you little shit! You messed with my beats! Ow, my leg! He's pecking at my leg!
He was working on the beat.
What is your...
You should have followed him.
Fuck. It's because... You know why I didn't trust it? It's because it's still like a baby. It's not all feathers, it's part fluff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not perfectly sleek like a penguin is.
It's not oily yet.
No.
Because, I mean, let me grab one of these. It's really oily.
Oh, shit! Dude, what were you?
Get out of here!
Ow! Katrina, get out of here!
Stop pecking me.
Boy,
Stop pecking me, Snowy.
How do you expect to get rescued like that with an attitude like that?
I know.
I guess I don't know. Do they rescue things from the zoo once you're already in the zoo?
PETA tries to. They always fail, though.
Yeah, they do. Which is probably why they never have a sense of humor about anything, because they're always failing.
Yeah, that's absolutely 100% true. Hi, everybody.
Hello, welcome to the new year. I guess it's a little older since we're.
It's a little older.
I mean, it's about a weekend, I think.
We've been kind of on like a 2-week bender, and
yes.
I don't really remember what has happened since the ball dropped. But about 6 hours ago, Don and I became conscious again, and lo and behold, we're in the shed.
The Shedd Aquarium in Chicago, right on the museum campus. Lots of aquatic life right around us. As we turn around, we've got this lovely aquarium just with a bunch of sea turtles and penguins, as we mentioned. The penguins were let out for feeding time, and those are kind of scattered around us now. Still just... No, that's mine. That's mine. You can't have that.
Yeah, this is my fish now.
Going for the tour.
Trying...
Yeah, that's right. Live fish. They got live fish at the Shedd Aquarium, so...
but that one looks so hungry. All right, hold on just 1 second.
You gonna feed it? Oh my... The baby bird method. Oh, that's adorable. Greg just fed the baby penguin.
Now he looks so happy and content.
And he's right up against your leg. I think
and the goers are kind of staring at us right now.
Ooh, I don't think...
Here, let's walk this way.
Hey, this is clearing. This is a clearing over here. That's nice.
Yeah.
Screw the penguins. Anyway, as we said, it's a week into 2019 as Greg and I are recording this, and we are the Boxcar Buddies. This is our first episode. As Greg just mentioned, we were kind of on the bender after the ball dropped. Neither of us really remembering too much about the last 2 weeks, but that is my preferred way of bringing in the new year in a nice... fun haze.
Yeah.
That's how I like it.
I kind of like going onto Twitter and finding all the horrible things that I've missed, like Gushers, putting Gushers in cream of mushroom soup.
Oh.
Nummy, nummy, nummy.
Oh my god. I am really hungry. I would eat that if someone put a bowl of it in front of me. I wouldn't say no, but my standards are way lower.
They need
than
to be
your
separate.
Average human. Yeah.
I like my food segregated.
Yeah, you do. I've seen that. I've actually seen you pick all the meatballs out of your spaghetti.
Yep.
Just will not have that.
Sauce needs to be in a bowl by itself, and each individual ingredient needs to be on its own separate plate, and then I kind of like dunk along.
Yeah.
Go down a line. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm eating it like a Korean barbecue. Mm-hmm. One ingredient at a time.
And then I've seen you do like with the spaghetti noodles, you'll like ramen it and just swirl it around in the sauce and...
Yep.
Nice, which is, it's not bad to each their
Saves
own.
me cleaning utensils.
Totally. Resolutions are in full force from everybody into the new year. I've been walking by a lot of gyms, seem much more packed than usual. You know how everybody, for the month of January, gets into the whole, I'm going to change my body, I'm going to change my life, and all that. And
who are you kidding? You're only going to be there for like 2 months. You
come on.
Fucking quitter.
Just get out of the way. Let me...
Just accept it like we have.
Yes.
Guess what's the perfect way to start the new year? A whole chocolate cake.
Oh, baby, is that the best? That
It's
sugar
incredible.
high carries you right into the new year feeling excellent.
And guess what? All the excess body weight you have will now protect you from the cold, cold winters.
Necessary. If you are in Chicago or around it, as Greg and I are in the Midwest, it is cold. That's how January
it's
goes.
super cold in here because we were in the fucking Penguinning encompassment.
Yeah, that's always cold in here.
No.
That's true. So yeah, we're kind of dealing with that.
Well,
but
this looks like a nice place to take a little
Cedar-Rooney.
Yeah, let's park it. Yeah, and it looks like, from the look of it, it's feeding time, so the keepers are busy, the animals are distracted, and that gives Greg and I a few moments to catch up on what we've been doing and talk to each other about the content, which is what Greg and I love to do. We chase stories of all kinds. If this is your first time joining us, we talk about movies, video games, TV shows, anything streaming, music, books. Anything at all to kind of jump out of the day-to-day existence, maybe learn a lesson, or simply just be entertained by characters who are not yourself. No consequences with stories, you know?
Yeah, that's like the perfect description. That was like fucking Wikipedia article.
Well, you know,
Like,
we've said it a couple of
quality.
times. I think I finally
You finally nailed it down. I still have a hard time saying it. I can do Good Greg's List.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do the intro. The intro, I'm kind of like, you know, we do the video games. Fuck me and
You know what we do? We do.
No, we don't do those. I'm gonna shut your mouth right now.
What do you mean we don't? We can. We can flow
We
into
could,
that.
but you know what? We should
What?
talk about something that we got our hands a little wet
That
into.
Greg and I got our fins onto.
we got a little clammy.
As two bros, we did that. We hopped to the nearest underwater theater and watched ourselves some of the newest DC hero movie, Aquaman.
Adam Sandler's Waterboy.
Mama said to try to save the world.
And I needed to call Captain Insano to help be my partner. No, that's not what we saw. Although it's a great movie.
No, I thought that's exactly what we saw. Adam Sandler's Aquaman.
We
The
did
hit sequel
we did see Aquaman.
to Waterboy.
But
Because,
not-
like, if we're doing Pokemon things, what does Waterboy evolve into? Aquaman.
Yes.
And then after that, he turns into Tundra.
Pappy.
No, Senor Tundra.
Yeah, I suppose. If you're following Pokemon evolution, yes, Waterboy is the natural precursor to Aquaman.
Yeah.
Although Warner Brothers
But it's
did
not a
include
precursor
that.
in the DC
No.
cinematic universe.
No, they did. Warner Brothers neglected to include all that with their stuff. So, but what we did see, Greg and I saw Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa, Nicole Kidman, Amber Heard, and
a bunch of other people.
Willem Dafoe.
Oh,
Willem
yeah.
Dafoe. That's right. He was in there too.
William Dafoe not doing any crazy faces.
Not doing.
He had a couple. He had a couple
there
of
was-
his like
there was-
trademark stares.
Right. There were a few moments in there that Willem Dafoe did like where the whites of the eyes are really showing, and he's kind of like, yes.
But he never gives one of his
Yes.
big creepy smiles. They try like James Wan tries to like hold him back. He's like, you need to keep the lips shut.
Otherwise,
That
it's
makes
too
your
Green Goblin.
It makes your smile cute. Because like what closed mouth smile, William Dafoe. Oh, it's so
Lovely.
precious,
Not threatening
But
at
then
all.
once the teeth come involved, you're like, ah.
He's baring his teeth.
Ugh,
He's territorial.
fuck. Ah,
He's
fuck.
nuts. I wonder what he would be like playing the Joker. I really do. Picturing
It
Willem
would
Dafoe
be
as the Joker.
It would just be Boondock Saints and Green Goblin all over again.
Yes, it would. You're
There would
absolutely
be
right.
like no difference.
It'd be the same thing. Yeah. Which those are classic, and that's
That's
all
why
fine.
he'd be better as like the Riddler. Calendar Man.
Oh my God! I would love to see some Calendar Man. Yeah.
But speaking of calendars, the day that we saw this film,
yes.
which is precursing to this review,
Uh huh.
therefore we must talk about this movie.
Right. Aquaman.
Transition.
Right back to the old segue. Segues not working underwater as far as we know, but there were a lot of
Until
other.
the aquatic version for Paul Blart Mall Cop 4.
Oh, now we're talking blending of Aquaman and Paul Blart.
Oh my god, imagine it.
The underwater Blart.
Oh my god, we could... Death Till Us Blart can finally have a continuation.
So anyway, yeah, so Greg and I checked out Aquaman, as we've said. It is it came out December 21st of 2018, and it had some mixed reviews, but obviously Greg and I don't pay any attention to that stuff. We go and see what we
But
like.
it made a whole fuck ton of money, so of course it's beating out Spider-Man, which it shouldn't be.
No, we have talked about the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Greg and I both loved that. And fixating now on Aquaman, I think Greg and I speaking definitely for myself, but I know I walked into that with little to no expectations from it. I think Greg and I have talked before on the show about how we feel specifically about DC movies, superhero movies in general, but the DC universe and their success thus far at portraying characters that are as compelling as they are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is to say, not at all.
It hasn't been great. I think Wonder Woman has the best writing of all the DC movies right now, period. But that's not saying much, because Wonder Woman is kind of messy.
Yeah.
There are parts of it that I think are really, really good, like Gal Gadot and Chris Pine's like entire chemistry.
Sure.
Like, the dialogue between them is great, and some of the jokes actually land, but I think the action sequences and like the love conquers war theme of the movie was really... It was like just hokey and kind of like...
Yeah, okay.
But that's the tone that I've always imagined for DC, hokey and cheesy. That's kind of how it's supposed to be.
It feels like that from the old animated shows, for instance, like a Justice League. You know,
like
that always
the Super Friends.
Meanwhile,
yeah,
back at the Crystal Towers.
Yeah.
Superman, I'm out of splendor.
I can go on a run for you.
Hurry. You used the last of the splendor.
I need it for my coffee.
Wow, this cartoon was so fucking interesting back then, wasn't it?
Right, it was great.
But as
Aquaman,
far as
though,
interesting and entertaining, Aquaman is bad. It's
Yes.
very stupid. It is nonsensical, fucking dumb. Blah. What the fuck is happening? Stop talking, idiots movie. And I enjoyed every minute.
but it was a lot of fun to watch. I think so. Greg and I saw it together. We obviously discussed it a little bit walking out of the theater. We both are. It's the kind of movie
we
that
have a
is-
love-hate relationship with it.
It's very fun to hate on. It's the kind of movie that 5 minutes in, you realize what you're in for. So you kind of just sit back and accept that, like, okay, the dialogue, little clunky and stupid at parts. The character developments, like their motivations,
almost non-existent.
there's non-existent. I mean, Aquaman, in terms of what he wants as a character, you don't really find that out until like with 30 minutes left of the movie.
The only thing he wants is his mommy.
Yeah,
that's all he wants. And then
Exactly.
and then once mommy comes back into the picture, he's like, I guess I have to be king.
Right. Mommy, played by Nicole Kidman, who's in, I think, 4 scenes of the movie. And
she does a tight as hell fucking like action sequence at the very
right,
beginning
right
of
off
the movie.
the bat. Yeah, there are 2 pretty sweet female fight scenes. Nicole Kidman's right off the bat in the beginning of the movie, and then Amber Heard has one as her and Aquaman are running through the streets of some Mediterranean city. I don't know if it's
they were
Greece or
running
Italy.
through Venice because it was set in Rome.
Right, and they're on the rooftops, and they are running from some
Black Manta and just a bunch of evil Atlanteans.
stooges sent by Aquaman's half brother, because the way the story goes is Aquaman is the boy he's the child of an Atlantean and a human, and he grows up on the beaches of some dock town. Willem Dafoe's character, who's like a not a prince, but like a steward.
He's an advisor.
Yeah, he's like Jafar. He's like a steward of the royal family.
Which I thought the movie was going to try and pull that plot twist of like, oh, he was evil the entire time.
It could have gone that
and then
way.
it's like, no, he actually legitimately like cares about Aquaman. It's just that William Dafoe always looks like he's a sneering villain.
Right, underneath it, he's actually got an ulterior
Even
motive,
in like endearing roles, he looks like he's a fucking villain.
Right, exactly. He could be like adopting an orphan kid, and you always expect him to just backhand him and take like a bite out of his neck or something.
Make like a science experiment out of them.
Yeah.
Yes. He gave like his fucking like gremlin stare.
Yeah, absolutely. But so that's where the story goes on. As Aquaman grows up, Willem Dafoe like raises him, teaches him how to fight, and then it's all for this moment that Aquaman is supposed to in everyone else's mind, he's supposed to return to Atlantis in order to take the throne from his half brother, whose motivation, the half brother's motivation, is to unite all these underwater kingdoms so that he can become Ocean Master, which is like this dictator of the seas,
and then basically take over land.
Yeah, wage war on the surface world. He wants to become Ocean Master and then destroy the surface world because the sea people belong in charge, according to him. And so that's what the plot of the movie is going forward. Amber Heard, Mira, the redhead who was introduced in Justice League, yet not by name apparently, and then in Aquaman at the beginning,
Justice League. So when she showed up, like I inched over to you and I was like, who is she?
Right, who's this chick?
Why does Aquaman know her?
Yeah, she gets it. She pops into the movie. She's in at least one or two scenes. They're having a conversation, and they do not. After two scenes, Aquaman has a line that says, "I don't even know your name." And so that's when they give the name. It's like, oh, okay. I thought that she was introduced.
I'm glad that James Wan is trying so hard to make up for how shitty Justice League is.
Yeah, and it seems like they did. And so, you know, the chemistry between Amber Heard and Jason Momoa, not there. Amber Heard,
so bad.
She keeps giving the same look to him over and over again, which is, I don't even know what it's supposed to be.
It's like blank-faced. I can't tell what
sideways glance.
It's kind of like deer caught in the headlights stare.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, look at his fucking chiseled brown body. Holy fuck.
And obviously they keep pushing the romance. There's things where they'll jump back from something and all of a sudden they're holding hands and they both look at their hands and like, oh, and then they break away from it.
Oh no. Oh, cooties.
But it's just not natural. It's one of those. Greg mentioned the chemistry between Chris Pine and Wonder Woman, and in that it's not even a shadow of that. It's the anti that. Like, these are two people that seemingly like just met, have no interest in like doing anything together.
I can't believe this guy I've been hanging out with for a year, not even a year, like a week. I want to put his fishy semen in me.
Wow, look at that red hair. She's really hot.
Yeah.
So anyway, though, so it's just, in terms of why it's bad, it's, as we said, there's no clear motivations of the characters.
It's the structure of the movie too.
The
structure
is bad.
All over the place.
Yes, it's messy. We mentioned that, like, another villain outside of Aquaman's brother is this Marine, is Black Manta. And Black Manta, like, every scene of his, it's like, there's something about it that's laughable. Even when they introduce him at the beginning.
He's chewing at the scenery.
Yeah.
And that's why I like him so much. There's a scene right before the fight in Venice. Black Manta is given all this equipment from Ocean Master to make himself into the Black Manta. And he takes it into his sub, and he's spray painting it black, and he's
tweaking
experimenting with shit.
Right.
And it gets to the helmet, and I was like, they can't possibly put the big dumb fucking fishbowl helmet in this movie, right? So we see a miniature version of it. I'm like, all right, this thing's gonna blow up, and then he's gonna put on like a cool looking mask.
Right.
Nope, he just makes a bigger one.
He made a bigger helmet.
He made one that is so fucking big. I'm surprised that he didn't catch himself off balance during shooting.
It's literally, the word I kept using to describe it was derpy. It is so derpy. I mean, he looks like Stewie from Family Guy.
He looks like a fucking snork.
Yes, yeah, and it's like you would think that his head is so large that would topple him over. But like, he's running around, and when he's first introduced, he's supposed to be all threatening, and he's flying around.
When he's introduced, like, I thought his outfit was dope. He's just this badass fucking
right, and he's got
pirate marine,
and he's got a jetpack using the plasma from underwater. When he first comes onto the screen, you're like, oh, okay, and he's got this really powerful gun. But then as he's chasing Aquaman and they're fighting, it becomes increasingly clear that this suit is like not suited for combat.
It's not for anything.
You know, he can't see anything in there.
That helmet, I couldn't help but laugh, but seeing his whole appearance,
yeah,
and it's something I need to applaud the movie for just continuing to entertain,
and that's
through terribleness.
That's part of, but that suit is an example of, I think, why the movie works on the so bad it's good or funny bad spectrum.
Because it completely understood its tone. It's a fucking Aquaman movie,
right?
So they understand that it's goofy and stupid. So
yeah.
They just roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't try to take it seriously. They're like, yep. This dude talked to a shark.
If you think about, compare it with a Dawn of Justice, Batman versus Superman. Compare it with Justice League, the Zack Snyder DC movies. Compare it with those, and there's a very dark, serious tone of all of those movies. Zack Snyder attempts to make you take the protagonist very seriously, and that it's emotional and deep and all that. This movie doesn't go anywhere near that kind of tone. It is the whole time. They even let Jason Momoa do like these quips, which are not funny.
None of them are good.
But they're funny again because they're bad. One of
the best line he says in the entire movie, they go to the Sahara Desert and they have to like activate this old Atlantean technology to find a map or some shit.
Right.
And what's her name?
Mira.
Mira takes like sweat off Aquaman and throws it in there like, it needs water.
Right.
And after it activates and whatever, and there's a brief second, Aquaman's just like, I could have just pissed on it.
Yes, literally that.
And
that's not a joke. He says that in the movie. And you can tell what they tried to do. They tried, like, imagine, the water hits this scroll and this ancient technology starts creaking, the wheels turn, it becomes this big projection thing. They succeed with their mission of, like, activating this old stuff, and it's like there's this music of, like, it's supposed to be a big moment.
Yeah,
and then they undercut it with, no sound. I could have just taken a piss on it. Like, it's supposed to be funny like that, but it's just a half second off, and it's not delivered great.
Speaking of music, I noticed this. It was like during that scene, like them leading up to finding the technology. It did that old '90s like comedy movie soundtrack.
Yeah,
where it's like dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes.
Yep. And there are many times in the soundtrack where it actually gives like a bum bum bum,
Totally.
and it sequences like that. I'm like, yes.
And then there's some interesting, there was some interesting music choices. Like they're underwater, and all of a sudden it's just like weird techno stuff that was going. Just like synthesizer.
I thought it was Mark Mothersbaugh, like
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Think of the soundtrack of Stranger Things as you're moving through an underwater kingdom, looking at all these. And that's one thing I'll say I liked about the movie, legitimately, not because it was bad. Some of the visuals of Atlantis, actually, they nailed that.
James Wan knows how to direct a scene, and I think this is the best DC movie in terms of action, because I knew what the fuck was happening on screen. A big problem that most of these movies have are either the action feels really fucking boring and just mundane because of all the slow motion. That's why I really don't like Wonder Woman as an action movie.
Right.
And then movies like Batman v Superman, where there are times where you're like, what is happening?
Right, it's dark and there's quick movements.
It's dark
and you're
the
just
camera
like, what?
is so close to Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. But this time, this movie really knew how to work with the actors. Like, in the beginning sequence of the movie when Nicole Kidman is fighting a bunch of, like, Atlantean soldiers in their house, it does, like, an over-the-shoulder shot of her whole body, and it seems like it's a continuous shot of her constantly going throughout their living room beating the shit out of these soldiers.
Right.
And I knew what was happening at all times. It never got so close that you couldn't, like, see...
that you'd lose focus on it.
Yeah.
No, it's very easy to follow. And even with, like you were saying...
I mean, that's James Wan, because, I mean, I like the Fast and Furious movies that he's worked on.
No, right, I agree.
Ever since he took over, I'm like, these movies are good now. Actually good.
And the visuals, too. Like he makes... These are superhero fights, so they happen fast, and people are getting thrown around. But in that scene Greg mentioned at the beginning... you can follow it all the way around the room. You don't lose anything. It's very easy to follow the whole fight and the pace of it. And then when they get underwater and then Aquaman's traveling between these cities and these different underwater kingdoms.
It's basically
Atlantis,
the fights that how Superman should have been.
Yeah.
It's just that these are in water, so it allows them to go all over the place.
Yeah, and so those are fun. There are fun moments like that. And then even some of the underwater fights between, like, there there was kind of a cooler one when they're inside a ship, which is like an air pocket underwater, yet there's no water inside of this underwater ship. So like it's kind of like a little land within the ocean there, and so the physics are different, and I thought like that was an entertaining fight too. So the fighting is easy to follow, and some of those visuals are really they pop out at you, definitely. So I mean, those are positives. Like no joke, all joking aside, those are positives. But the movie on the whole, go into it with no expectations. Go into it knowing that it's going to be hammy and corny and like goofy, and you'll enjoy it.
Yes. This is like a high budget B movie.
Yeah.
Maybe even C tier because the story is so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I think the movie that's the crowning achievement of like a lot of money B movie.
Right.
A high quality B movie is Kong Skull Island.
Right. I remember that.
That movie is incredible. It's so good and so fun. But this one, like, it's dumb. It's fucking stupid. But it's still really, really entertaining.
Yeah,
like,
it's a good time. If you know that going into it, don't go in there expecting to get blown away by the depth of these characters. You're not going to have
Get blown
that.
away by the depth of the ocean.
Woo! Fathom that, bitch. But anyway, so that's our opinion of Aquaman. Go see it, but do so knowing what we just said to you. Just keep the expectations
If you
low.
are not a fan of like laughing at bad movies, like you don't like sitting down to watch bad movies, skip this completely.
Yeah, you won't enjoy it
because it's a bad movie. It is truly bad.
You're not going to be engaged on that level. You will not like forget about everything around you at the time. It's one of those, it'll get you down to a level where you can kind of poke fun at it and you're never really invested in it.
Yeah.
You can just kind of laugh at it from the outside. And if you can do that and you like doing that, you will enjoy it.
Very much so.
But now we've reached the, since we talked about that, now we've reached the part of the show where you get to ask or tell us something.
It's our favorite part of the show. It's Greg's List. This is the part of the show when you become a Boxcar buddy with us.
That's right.
So what you can do is send your questions, concerns, comments, anything at all that you can think of off the top of your head.
Feedback.
And you want to send it to Greg's List. That's 3 G's. Greg's List at gmail.com.
There you go. That's what you can do. And who do we got this week, Greg?
Oh, our buddy Billy Bobcat's back in action.
Billy Bobcat from Morton Grove.
Our inbox has been kind of loaded up, and I'm just looking back, and I'm like, oh, Billy sent us something before the holidays.
A while back.
And
yeah, let's go in order like
unfortunately,
that.
it's called Holiday Game Time. But
oh, Billy. That's
sorry,
okay.
Billy.
Well, it's our fault. We didn't get to it until now, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, so he says, sup, fellers, which board game is best? Trick question, it's a matter of opinion, so I really like Chinese checkers. That's right, I'm full of surprises. Look at you, Billy. Wow.
Billy Bob.
Sharp claws there, Billy Bobcat.
Listen, you can't change tone or give us like a boom via email. We're reading it. We can see it all on the one line.
Yeah.
There's no
surprise.
Yeah, there's no hesitation of us trying to guess what you're going to say next. It's all there on the screen. We can just jump ahead and see what you're going to say. But
I still like the way he writes his emails.
I know.
And number one fan.
And
Billy
we
Bobcat.
appreciate you submitting them all the time, Billy. Billy has written to us a few times now. And that's a fair question. Board games, by the way, kind of making a bit of a resurgence. I've been seeing those sell more. Like I see them on store shelves.
I mean, they've been great party
playing
games where you don't have to spend, hundreds of dollars for video games and
Absolutely,
shit. So
yeah. It's something fun to do with a group of people. It's
what's a board game that you've been playing currently that you think is doperino?
I always, these are kind of a little classic, but my family always played Sorry. Mm-hmm. The board game Sorry, if you're familiar with that one, and then
I think everyone and their mothers know what Sorry is.
just in case, and then Monopoly, obviously, and Clue. Those are kind of the big three for my family always.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I've been going in the like newer board game route.
Sure.
What
Cards Against Humanity?
Cards Against Humanity is all right. I think that game was like really fun when like I was in college.
Sure.
But now I'm kind of like, meh.
Apples to Apples. That's another one I see played at parties a lot.
The one that I had played a lot with friends is Betrayal at the Haunted House on the Hill.
I am not familiar with that.
It's an excellent party board game. It's super popular right now too.
Wow, I'll have to check that out.
It's great. It's a 5-player game, 5-player at max or 6-player at maximum game. where you pick a character, they have certain traits to them, like they have good strength or whatever, and your goal is to travel through this mansion, but while you're searching through the mansion, all of a sudden, a random event is going to happen, and then from the cards that you've drawn, like you and your party, depending on who's got the lowest stat of like intelligence or strength or something, they become a traitor, and then a monster is released into the game.
Fun.
So it becomes one versus all the others.
Right.
There's
like Murderer, if you ever played that party game where someone becomes in the middle of it, or Werewolf, if you played that, some version of it.
Werewolf is great too.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Betrayal, there's also a like Dungeons and Dragons inspired one called Betrayal at Baldur's Gate.
Nice.
I did that one once with Freak and a few other friends from the Free Clinic.
Cool.
And I became the traitor, and what the traitor is that your character wakes up and realizes that you are a portly dungeon master. So now you have to treat the game like D&D instead of a board game, and you have to...
Oh.
And you've poisoned all the characters, so you have to create health and poison potions all over the game.
Wow.
And you have to hide them, and if they find them, there's a small chance that you drink poison.
Yeah. So an interactive game that way, where you're directly affecting the outcome in a way.
Yep.
That's really cool. That sounds fun.
It was very fun. I really enjoy those games.
There's
Other ones like Secret Hitler is always fun.
My family's been playing another game. It's not a board game, but it involves a phone called Heads Up, where it's like an app, and there are different categories.
Yeah, it's like the questionnaire game.
Yeah, it's like you might say celebrities, and then you as the guesser hold the phone up with the screen facing. If it's me and it was 5 other people, I would stand up at the front of the room and the 5 people be sitting down, and I would hold the phone facing away from my forehead so I can't see it, but they can. And then it'll pop up with a name of a celebrity, let's say, and then they all try and get me to guess that celebrity without saying the name of them.
Right.
Like a charades kind of a thing. But so that's a lot of fun to do, and it's timed. And chess was always big for me. I can always play chess.
I'd say it's not really a board game, but the Jackbox collections are always super fun. They're video games. They're on every platform.
Oh, Jackbox. Yeah, of course.
The most recent one has a couple games that are incredible. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically Drawful, but what you're doing is inventing ideas.
Oh, man.
So I made one where someone was like, oh, we want you to create something for bees. And I'm like, oh, it's an organic beehive. And I drew a man's asshole. And I was like, it's the organic beehive.
I see. Okay,
keep your
cool.
bees safe and warm.
That sounds very hard.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
There's also a game where you play giant robots and you have rap battles, and everything you type in is put through a word processor.
Fantastic.
So even when you write something, the robot will be like, that is right, sucker.
Wow.
Your words are so whack.
That sounds hilarious.
I'm going to go home and eat a snack pack.
Although you have to, so you type in.
You have to
these
type
words.
it in on your phone.
I see. Okay,
So I highly recommend the Jackbox.
dude.
stuff.
So that's Billy Bob. To answer your question, those are some classics that Greg and I choose, and some of the ones that are kind of, I think, a little more current that are fun to do if you're at a party and stuff. But great question, and board games are always a fun thing to do with a group of people that you enjoy spending time with.
Hey, who the hell are you two?
Oh, we're here. We're cleaning.
We're nobodies.
We're the new
Yeah,
cleaners.
All
we're
right.
good.
Well, keep cleaning.
Thanks, man. Yeah. We'll
Hey,
be,
wait a minute.
What?
Sean isn't here. You're neither Sean or Sean.
How do
Neither
you know?
one of you. Because I'm an aquarium worker. I'm the security guard here.
Shit. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
1012, 1012. We
right,
got
that's
two
enough.
illegals in the Penguins.
That's enough of that. Give me that thing.
No! Oh, help! Mayday! Mayday! My arms are up.
Penguins, get him! Get him, Penguin!
Oh, no! Oh! They're pecking my nostril hairs out!
This is amazing! They're jumping on top of each other! Great! Quickly, start grabbing the equipment. Hey, we gotta get the hell out of here. Thank you so much. Happy, prosperous New Year. We look forward to talking to you in 2019. As always, we appreciate it. Check out Aquaman if you like that stuff. And otherwise, we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Alright, let's get the fuck out of here! Penguins, no!
Oh God, my eyes!
What you just heard was a fantasy, a fiction cooked up for your amusement and the catharsis of the hosts. Please, have mercy on them.